You might have seen this little ring around some watches and have wondered exactly what it's for. This is called a bezel, and they usually have different markings and can function differently to use different features. The GMT bezel, for instance, can usually rotate in either directional, called bidirectional, and to use it, you line up the top of the 24-hour bezel, which usually has some sort of marking. From that point, you set it to the current hour of the time zone that you're currently tracking. The dive bezel, on the other hand, can usually only rotate in one direction, often called unidirectional. Now, a diver would use this by setting the top of the dive bezel to the current minute once they start their dive, and they would regularly check it to see how much time has elapsed since they began their dive. Now, tachymeter is a bezel that's fixed into place typically on chronographs, since you don't need to rotate it at all to use it. Instead, you'd use the chronograph feature on the watch kind of like a stopwatch. Now, if a watch doesn't have any markings on the bezel, it's just a fixed piece of metal like stainless steel. This is still considered and called a bezel. It's just not necessarily one that's functional and more for aesthetic.